World War II is often remembered for tanks, codebreakers, and the race for the atomic bomb, but behind the battle lines, another war was unfolding, one fought in shadows and silence. It was a battle of deception, dead drops, and tiny pieces of technology so small and so advanced for their time, that even modern audiences struggle to believe they existed. Among the most important of those technologies were microcameras, miniature imaging devices disguised inside everyday objects like pens, cigarette cases, belt buckles, and even shirt buttons. These cameras gave Allied intelligence agencies an enormous edge, one that quietly shaped everything from battlefield strategy to the race for nuclear research. They didn't fire bullets, they didn't roar like engines, but they captured secrets that changed the course of the war. A war fought in millimeters. When we think of cameras during World War II, we imagine bulky metal-bodied machines with thick film spools, but intelligence services needed something different, something soldiers and agents could hide in plain sight. So, engineers began shrinking optics to their physical limits. The result? Well, micro cameras weighing just a few ounces, some barely larger than a coin. The most famous of these was the Steineck ABC wristwatch camera, a German invention later used and reverse-engineered by the Allies. It looked like a harmless watch but held a tiny lens and rotating film disc capable of capturing 8 frames without raising suspicion. Another was the Minsetta camera disguised as a cigarette lighter. With just a simple flick, an agent could snap a frame of classified documents on an enemy's desk before, sliding the lighter back into a pocket. These micro-cameras weren't just clever, they were actually revolutionary. They allowed Allied intelligence agencies to collect vast amounts of visual data without the need for bulky equipment or, any suspicious behavior. Cameras hidden in pencils, rings, buttons, and even shoelaces. Some of the most ingenious designs came from the British SOE, the Special Operations Executive, and the American OSS, or Office of Strategic Services. These agencies developed micro-cameras hidden inside pencils. A simple twist of the eraser triggered the shutter, and the lens was disguised as the metal ferrule that normally holds the eraser. Coat buttons were particularly effective. The button's 4 holes appeared ordinary, but one of them hid a pinhole lens. The camera body was sewn into the lining of the coat, allowing the wearer to snap photos simply by crossing their arms. Belt buckles were also used. Agents could take images by placing their hands casually on their hips. The lens was buried in the decorative etching of the buckle. Rings and tie clips were, mainly used for photographing close-range documents. Their tiny lenses meant the agent had to hover a hand over the target for just a brief moment. It was dangerous, but honestly, pretty effective when it came to stealing nuclear research notes. Shoelace tips. Now that was one of the rarest inventions out there. A micro lens hidden right in the aglet, which is the hardened tip of a shoe. All the agent had to do was simply cross a foot over a knee to aim the camera. These inventions, they sound like something out of a spy novel, but believe it or not, they were real, field-tested, and successful. The secret that helped the Allies in the atomic race. While microcameras were used all across Europe, their most consequential role actually came through intelligence on Germany's nuclear program. Allied agents used concealed cameras to document things like laboratory notes, reactor component shipments, heavy water production facilities, scientist travel patterns, and uranium-related machinery. These images fed directly into the Allied assessment of how close Nazi Germany was to building a nuclear weapon. As it turned out, the scientists in Berlin were far behind. Without photographic evidence, the Allies might have made catastrophic strategic decisions based on, just guesswork. Microcameras didn't win the race for the atomic bomb, but they gave Allied intelligence clarity, and, clarity is power in wartime. A tiny technology with massive consequences. Looking back, it's honestly astonishing how much wartime strategy was shaped by devices smaller than a thumb. Nowadays, we're used to servers, drones, and satellites, but in World War II, a camera disguised as a button was, well, cutting-edge espionage. Micro-cameras may not get the attention given to code-breaking or nuclear physics, but the secrets they preserved, and the risks spies took to capture them, played a quiet yet truly decisive role in how the war unfolded. These weren't just gadgets, they were weapons of information, and in World War II, information could actually win a war.